This is going to make it a lot easier for you to start getting notes consistently with the rest of the instrument. Hello, my sax playing friend Alexander here from saxophoneMasterclass.com. In today's lesson, I want to give you 5 warm-up exercises on the sax that you need to practice. This is how I teach all my beginner students how to warm up on the saxophone, and it's essential that you use all 5 of these warm-up techniques if you want to see more consistency in your playing and you want to get more enjoyment out of playing the saxophone. Even if you're not a beginner, I'm sure you'll find some of these warm-up techniques useful, and if you want to get even more warm-up techniques, you can go to saxophonemasterclass.com/warm-ups and you can get all of my different warm-up techniques for the saxophone, including all the techniques I'm telling you in this video. So go and download that PDF. It's completely free and it's going to help you with following along to this lesson as well. So the first thing you want to do to warm up on the saxophone is to just use the mouthpiece and neck. Now, I talk about this a lot in a lot of my different videos, but this truly is the best way to warm up, especially as a beginner. And all you want to do is focus on getting a consistent tone with just your mouthpiece and neck. So first of all, you want to make sure that you've placed the reed on the mouthpiece correctly. And I have another lesson on that, which I'm going to link to at the end of this video. But once you have the mouthpiece, reed, and ligature in place, and you've put it onto your neck, you want to just practice doing long tones with the mouthpiece and neck like this. So as you can see, I'm holding the mouthpiece and neck straight like that, and I'm making sure I'm not covering this hole. I'm holding it in the middle of the neck like that. You could also hold it at the back of the neck like that as well. And the idea here is that you're focusing on your breath support and you're focusing on your embouchure so that you're able to get consistency in your tone. You're able to vibrate the reed against the mouthpiece and you're able to get a long tone for 7, 8, 10 seconds. This is going to make it a lot easier for you to start getting notes consistently with the rest of the instrument. And there's a few different ways that you can practice these mouthpiece and neck exercises, and I should go through them inside my Saxophone from Scratch Challenge, which is a completely free beginner course if you did just start on the saxophone, and you can get access to that at saxophonemasterclass.com/challenge. And not only show you warm-up exercises, but I show you your first notes, I show you how to hold the sax, and I even show you your first songs on the saxophone. So once you've warmed up with the mouthpiece and neck, you now want to grab your saxophone and gently put your mouthpiece and neck onto the top of the saxophone. And of course you want to make sure you're clipping your neck strap to the saxophone as well. Once you've done that, you want to adjust the neck strap so that the mouthpiece comes right up to your mouth while it's resting against your body. So the second warm-up routine is to now blow warm air into the saxophone. If you're living in a cold climate, or if you just took the saxophone out of its case, it may be cold and you want to make sure that you've warmed it up so it doesn't sound out of tune. So the easiest way to do this is to just blow warm air into the saxophone. The other thing you want to make sure you're doing as you're blowing warm air into the sax is pressing down all the keys. So let me show you what I mean. So when you're pressing down all the keys on the sax, what I mean is you're pressing the first 3 fingers in the left hand, first 3 fingers in the right hand, and that's D. And then you want to be pressing that low C key, which is this one, not this one, in your right hand with your right pinky. So you're pressing that low C down like that. And then you're also pressing this low B flat key, which closes those very bottom keys at the bottom of the saxophone so that all the air can now travel through the entire saxophone and you can actually hear it coming out of the bell. So I'm holding down the low B flat and blowing warm air into the saxophone, and this is a great warm-up technique before you start actually playing the saxophone. You can do this 3, 4, 5 times until you feel like the instrument is getting warmer, and then you can move on to the next exercise. So the third exercise to warm up on the saxophone is to first of all pick a scale. So if you're a beginner, I like to use the G major scale, And you can just use this scale to now start practicing long tones on the saxophone. Now, if you don't know what G major is or you don't know your scales, you can actually get my free saxophone scales cheat sheets at saxophonemasterclass.com/scales. I show you different major scales, different minor scales, pentatonic scales, and I also give you a fingering guide as well so you can start learning these scales today. So I'm going to start on G major and I'm going to start playing long tones on every note of the scale. And ideally you should be choosing a scale you already know to warm up. So as you're working on these long tones, you want to make sure you're thinking about your breath support, and you want to make sure you're thinking about your embouchure and putting it in the correct position on the mouthpiece and reed. That's why we started with just the mouthpiece and neck, so we can practice these techniques without the rest of the saxophone, without trying to play the notes of G major. You want to work on these fundamental techniques first before you start practicing your long tones with the rest of the instrument. So I'm going to play the entire G major scale and do long tones on each note, tonguing the beginning of the note and playing them for at least 8 seconds each. So that was G major, playing every note for at least 8 seconds and tonguing the beginning of the note. I'm using some great breath support there. I'm focusing on my embouchure muscles, trying to keep it relaxed but firm. And this is a great way to start warming up your saxophone. This is going to make it easier to start playing your favorite songs within the range of that scale that you're playing. So I recommend starting on G major if you haven't used this exercise before. And I'm going to show you another warm-up exercise using G major as well. But remember, you can get all of these warm-up exercises and more for free at saxophonemasterclass.com/warmups. So the fourth way to warm up on the saxophone is to now take that scale and start practicing it to a metronome. So we're going to get a metronome and we're going to set it to 60 BPM, which is 60 beats per minute, which is 1 beat per second. And we're going to practice the G major scale going up and down to this metronome. And this is a great way to warm up on that scale, which is going to help you with learning your favorite songs within that scale as well. So the first thing you want to do is get a metronome. I just downloaded one onto my smartphone. You can just search for metronome and you'll see dozens of them, but you can also buy them separately. And I actually have a saxophone buyer's guide that includes my recommendations for metronomes, and you can get that at saxophonemasterclass.com/guide. I also give you recommendations for reeds, mouthpieces, saxophones, and other saxophone gear inside that guide as well. Once you have a metronome, you just set it to 60 BPM. And now we just play in time to the metronome. So that's the fourth way to warm up on the sax, and that's going to make it a lot easier to start playing songs inside the key of G major. Which brings me to the fifth way that you should warm up on the saxophone as a beginner. If you've gone through all of these different warm-ups and you've used the scale of G major, for example, you should then start to play a song that you already know in the key of G major. So if you have already learned simple songs like When the Saints Go Marching In, or Mary Had a Little Lamb, or Hot Cross Buns, then you should try to play those songs before you move on to learning something new. This is just a way of connecting with the instrument, feeling good about your playing something you're familiar with, and simply just enjoying playing the saxophone. This is actually a really important part of warming up. You want to make sure that you're in the right headspace of enjoying playing the saxophone. And the best way to do this is to just pick a song that you already know, that you already love, that you find easy, to give yourself a little confidence boost, to make you feel good about playing, and to get you ready for practicing new things, learning new things, and being in a good mindset so you can practice smarter and not harder. If you start practicing and you're not feeling good about yourself, you're not in a good mindset, you're going to start feeling tense, you're going to start feeling stressed, and you're only going to make small improvements, if any improvements, if you're in that mindset. So for example, I was warming up in the key of G major there, and if you're a beginner, you should already know a couple of different songs in G major, and one of them could be as simple as Mary Had a Little Lamb. So warming up with those first four techniques and then just playing a song that you're familiar with, that you know inside out, is going to be the best way to start warming up on the saxophone. Remember, I go through all of these warm-ups and more inside my free guide at saxophonemasterclass.com/warm-ups. So if you're looking for even more advanced warm-up routines, you can get them inside that free PDF. So that's the 5 ways that you can warm up on the saxophone, especially as a beginner. Use mouthpiece and neck exercises, blow warm air into the instrument, warm up using long tones on a specific scale, such as G major, then practice that scale with a metronome at 60 BPM, and then finally play a song that uses that scale that you already know inside out. This is really going to help you with improving your playing, getting consistency in your tone, and being able to improve faster than ever when you're in your practice sessions. Now, if you are a complete beginner, I highly recommend you check out my Saxophone from Scratch challenge. It's completely free and you can get access to it at saxophonemasterclass.com/challenge. I have step-by-step lessons in there that goes through all of these different warm-up techniques, as well as shows you your first fingerings on the saxophone, as well as your first songs on the saxophone. And it's completely free, no strings attached. So I really hope you found this lesson helpful. If you did, please like this video. Please comment below what you found the most helpful, and make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell for upcoming videos. I put lessons out every single week on everything you can imagine related to the saxophone. I show you how to learn your favorite songs step by step. I show you tone exercises. I show you different scales. It's all on this channel. It's all completely free. So I'd love for you to become part of this wonderful community of sax players. If you have any suggestions of any lessons I should do on this channel, please let me know below this video. Until the next lesson, have a great week and happy playing.